Okay, great. Terrific. All right, well, good. As usual, it's good to be here. Always enjoy these visits. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to show you two things, and then we'll get into the questions and hopefully the answers. So first thing I wanted to do was talk about some old apps in sort of a new way. So I'm going to start sharing my iPhone here. Screen. Okay, great. Good. Now let me set up my annotation tools here so I can mark on this. So I'm not going to show you any new apps here. I'm going to show you old apps, but I'm going to turn them sideways and we're going to see there's some new stuff in them. So let's start with, I'm going to open up Safari here. I'm going to go to Mac Rumors and go read a web page here. Okay, so here they are. So I'm going to tap that. That, and let me just type this. Okay, so here I am reading an article. First of all, what I'm doing, I'm reading it in the reader mode, but suppose you're reading it like this. Here's this article. Okay, and notice how big the text is, which is not big, but if I turn my phone sideways, the text is much bigger. So even, of course, it's bigger on your screen because it's expanded to fill the space, but it's actually bigger on the phone too. So if there's something you're reading on your iPhone in Safari and it's not big enough, try turning the phone sideways. Simple as that. It gets bigger. All right, let's look at another thing. I'm gonna break out the calculator here. So there's the calculator. Okay, so here's some calculation. Nothing special here. 1, 2, 3 plus 4, 5, 6. Right, pretty simple stuff. But if you turn your phone sideways, it becomes a scientific calculator. Now, I'm not going to teach you how to use a scientific calculator, but you can see that there's all these fancy buttons in here, like square roots over here, and reciprocals over here, and natural logs and sines and cosines and stuff. And they all just magically show up when you turn the phone sideways. So I'm going to turn it back. So there's another one. Here's one of my favorites. This is one that took a long time for me to discover, sort of discovered by accident. So here's my calendar. All right, great, calendar. Nothing very exciting there. But what I really want is, what I want is what happens when I turn it sideways. So here I go. So I turn it sideways. And now you see a week view here. I can pan through these. I must sort of slide over. So this is really nice because it's quite easy for me now to to grab an appointment here and drag it somewhere else and let it go. Okay, I'm going to put it back where it belongs. But so that's a great new view just by turning it sideways. All right, so that's a good one. Okay, let's look at notes. In fact, I'm looking at notes right now. Here's notes. So here's some notes I've been doing about a project I'm working on, and it's fine. But if I turn it sideways, once again the text gets bigger. So try it. That could help you. Now let's look at something else. I'm gonna go to messages here. Let's say I'm gonna have a conversation here and I want to start typing. If I turn the phone sideways, the keyboard's bigger. Okay, so it's just a bigger target for me to hit with my fingers. So every little key is a little bit wider than it is when it's like this. So anyhow, that's a nice thing, and that works the same way in Mail as well. All right, now if you're trying to do this and nothing's happening, and it's not working, because in the control center, we've got the rotation lock on. So I'm going to pull down from the top right corner here, get to the control center, and the rotation lock is this button with the little lock on it. This guy right here. So if you tap that, then it won't rotate. So you can turn it sideways all you want, nothing happens. So there's a benefit to that sometimes, and that benefit is, let's say you're watching you're watching a movie on your phone, a video, and you're reclining while you're doing it, and maybe your phone gets twisted a little bit like this. You don't want it flopping back and forth on you. It's nice if it'll just stay in the orientation that you start with. So there is a reason to turn on that lock. Okay, any questions about that?
I don't see any.
Okay, good.
Mm-hmm.
Either it was perfect or it was boring or
It was perfect.
something.
It was perfect, Christian. It was perfect.
That's the spirit. That's the spirit. Okay. Now I want to talk about typing. You can really speed up your iPhone work by typing more quickly, and it doesn't have to be a matter of physical dexterity that's getting better. It can be just sort of technique that gets better. So, for example, there's a lot of built-in things that are in the system that make typing better if you don't fight it. So I'm going to show you some. So let's go. I'm going to contacts. I'm going to add a new contact. Okay, so let's add a contact. So I'll hit the plus up there. Now, if you know that Apple is going to automatically capitalize things, you don't have to waste your time capitalizing. In fact, you can see, if you notice down here, they've already hit the caps key here. So it's already capped. So if I start putting in, I'm gonna put in Donald Duck here. And you don't have to turn the caps off either because it's already off. They know how to do this. So now I'm gonna go down here to this box, the last name box, and of course it's already put in the capital letter again, but then it turned it off again. So it's really nice. Now let's look at the email. So I'm gonna put an email in here. Now this is one of my favorite things. Good little iPhone apps will change the keyboard when it's time to put an email address in. And you can see the change is down here. The change is down here where it shows this period and this @ sign. And that's different than when you're typing in a normal text box, like up here for company. See, I'm up here now, and the keyboard looks sort of like a normal keyboard. But as soon as I get down to email, and I put my cursor in the email box, then you get a new keyboard. But this doesn't always happen. But when it does, it's great because now I can put in something like this. I'm gonna put in Donald's email address, not the way I did it. Okay, so you still have to do something right. I'll hit the @ and that's great. And I'll put in Disney.com. I think is where it is. Okay, here comes the fun part. It's the dot. Now look, I can type .com probably, even though I made a mistake with Donald. But I don't have to type it because if I put my finger on that dot and I hold it for a second, .com is right there. So I can just let go and .com squirts in. So let's do that again. Suppose he was at .org. I can still touch it here, and the dot provides this pop-up, and now I can slide over and I can make him .org. Okay. Anyway, it's a little time saver. Yes, of course you can type 3 letters yourself, but if you can get the letters in there without typing, that's improved. It's improving your speed. Okay, now let's do, we'll do 2 more things here. Slide to type. Okay, slide to type. So I'm going to go back and look at this note that we were on a minute ago. Okay, so I want to type something here. Now, slide to type. Well, first of all, let's make sure slide to type is turned on. I'm going to look in the settings, and it's not always on. So if it doesn't work, this is the place to look. You go to General. You go to Keyboard. There it is. You go to Keyboard, and then you make sure that slide to type down here is on. Okay. And by the way, just as a general tip, all of these things are good. You want all these things turned on, I think. So it's going to make things easier for you. All right, so I've got slide to type on. That's the main thing. So let's get back to the note and let's see what I can do here. Okay. So sliding to type means that you don't pick your finger up and tap at the keyboard like a woodpecker. Ba, 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 ba. You keep your finger on the keys on the keyboard and you slide around like this. Okay, like you were I don't know, like if you were finger painting sort of thing. So I'm gonna try to type. This is really weird. Here I go. So I put my finger on the T and I go this, and I do is, and I'm gonna do REALLY REIRD. It worked. Okay, I wasn't watching to see if it was working, and actually, it's better that way. It's sort of like when you're walking around with if you have like a really full cup of coffee and you're trying to bring it somewhere, you don't look at it so it doesn't spill. Well, this is, you don't look at it so you don't make a mistake. So it works, okay, and it's an acquired taste, which honestly I have not acquired. But if you play with it a little bit, you might find that it's just the thing that that works for you. Now, there's one more thing I want to do. I'm gonna put in. Let me get this back down. Just because you do it, just because you got slide to type on doesn't mean that you can't still type in a normal way. So now my other favorite thing, the last favorite typing thing, is it's not really about typing. It's about moving the insertion point to change something. So suppose I wanted to come up here and wipe out this word way up here. So I can try to sort of stab at it with my finger and get the cursor in just the right place. But it's easier if I do it another way. And the other way is you put your finger on the space bar and you hold it for a little while, okay? So when you do, you notice the keys have all disappeared. But now if I slide my finger around, I'm moving the insertion point, and now I put it in the perfect spot. So it kind of turns the whole keyboard area into a trackpad. So once you've tried this, and you'll be successful on the first try. Once you've done it, you'll think, why have I not done this my whole life? Because see, now I can just clean that up. So now if I want to put the cursor down at the bottom let's suppose I want to put the cursor right here. Or maybe I'm trying to make maybe let's put it right here before this F. This F was supposed to be capitalized right there. So I'm gonna see if I can get my cursor there by putting my finger on the space bar and moving it down. I have to do it twice here, I ran out of room, but I can move down and get it right there so that I can delete it and do that. So anyway, it's a really nice thing to know how to do. Okay, that concludes our little extras session. I hope that was fun.
You might, I think you have a question here.
Oh,
Don,
marvelous, good.
Don, can you unmute yourself and ask your question?
Yeah, hi, Christian. On the keyboard command that you just went to, what does the one below the one that you just showed us? It says delete. Talk about sliding.
Oh yeah. I saw that. That was delete.
What does that delete slide to type by word? What is that to?
Well, we're gonna find out, because honestly, I don't know. I haven't done. I'm not a slide to type guy, but I wanted to at least show it, and now I'm gonna be exposed as an imposter. The real Christian Boyce couldn't be here. All right. So what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna try to I don't know. Let's see. Maybe Sheeta knows how this works, but I'm gonna see if I've tapped here at the end of the word weird, and let's see. Can't swipe. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah. So no, I'm trying to swipe, and I don't know how that works. Sorry about that.
Hey, thanks.
Well, now you've done it. Okay. Well, usually we don't get me stumped until the end, but okay, now you've done it.
Does anybody out there know?
Does anybody know? I'd love to know myself. There's a reason I didn't mention that.
I didn't see it. I was answering a question in the chat, so I did not see it. So is it a way to show what was happening?
Sure, I'll show you right here. In the settings, here, it's the one that says delete slide to type by word. So my guess is that maybe if you slid to type, I'm gonna guess one more time.
Okay, I think I know what it might do. Do a
Okay.
slide, do a,
Yeah, I just
yeah,
did it.
that, yeah, there you go.
Okay, so what you do, the answer is if you use slide to type, let's type some stuff here. I'm gonna say I'm gonna do happy birthday to you. Okay. Okay, suppose I wanted to get rid of the word you. If I hit delete once down here, it's gonna get rid of the whole word.
Mm-hmm.
Ah.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'm gonna get rid of the whole word here, but I'm gonna try. No, so it just deleted the whole last word that it made. So if it makes a mistake, you can wipe that out. So that seems like be the answer.
Yes,
Sheila, would you agree with that? Does that seem
I
about
do,
right?
because I use it all the time. I use slide to type all the time, and that's what happens. I think that also happens when I'm doing like pecking sometimes. But yeah, that's what that is for.
Very good.
Thank you.
Okay, so now it's question and answer time. So we had a few questions. Oh, you know what? Wait, whoa, I'm not done. I'm not done with my with typing shortcuts. So let's do something that's going to keep you from having to type as much. And the way we do that is we use the camera to scan stuff. Okay, so let's say I've got here, maybe you can see here, I got a business card here. Somebody's business card. These are the guys that did my roof. Okay. Suppose I want to email these guys that did my roof. You can see there's an email address on this card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the camera app, which is down there at the bottom for me. Here's a camera app. Okay, I got the card in my hand. And I'm gonna look at this card here. And can you see there are little yellow brackets around the text here? So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to hit, there's a button at the bottom right that looks kind of like a page right there. Okay. And now it's captured that text. So now I have a couple things I can do. If I touch that email address, it's written an email to this guy. Okay. Wow. So I didn't have to do the typing. So that's the speed up there. Let's do this again. I'm gonna take the picture again. So I didn't actually have to finish taking the picture. Here's a phone number. I can tap that. I could call him. Okay. So it takes entering a phone number that you haven't, that isn't in your address book. I mean that's 10 characters you don't have to type now. Okay. And here's an address, which if I tap that, and you're probably going to guess it's going to go to the maps and show me where this is. So that's a neat thing. Okay, so that's a really neat one. So that you can do, there's a couple ways you can do that. You can do that in advance. Like here, I'm holding the card in my hand. I took the camera, aimed it at it, and got the stuff. Okay, that's one way to do it. Another way to do it is, let's say you start writing the email. So I'm gonna make this new email, and where I'm in the to field, I can tap up there, and if it works right, you see it says scan email address. So I just tapped it, and now here's another business card. This is my business card. I'm gonna send myself an email address, so I can, when it says scan email address, if I tap that black thing there, now the camera lights up, and I can hopefully get an email address. There, they found one, and it's a little bit harder to do, but again, you hit the button, and now I can insert that, and I can write to this guy. All right, I'm not going to ask him about swipe to type though. Okay, so
what if you want to add? What if you want to add that to your contact?
I could probably do that. That's a good question, but I don't know. I don't know if I can add it to my contacts just by taking a picture of it. It seems like that would be a great idea. I'm gonna hit this. I'm gonna hit the button here. And let's see, I got copy, select all, look up, translate, speak sentence.
Okay.
I'm just gonna, I don't have a way to add it that I know of. But again, the camera, this is all built in, right? This is no special app. This is just built in. I look at the card, it sees the text, it surrounds it with those yellow brackets, and then I go down to that thing that looks like a page that has little brackets. They picked up the text.
Christian,
Yes.
click the right arrow.
Yes.
And click share.
Oh, maybe we can share it. And I can make, let's see. So these are people I could send it to. I could, lots of things I could do.
Okay, no address book.
I don't
Okay.
see one where I can add a new one, but I could probably make a shortcut that did it. All right, let's do one more now. Let's see, got an email address one. Oh, phone number one we've done. Now here's something interesting. So while I was walking around the neighborhood today, I saw a flyer. Someone's lost their dog. So there's a flyer, lost dog flyer, and it's got a phone number. So here's the picture, okay? Lost dog. Okay, Henry the dog. So I took a picture of it with my camera, and then I came back home. I don't know about where the dog is. This is just for example. But here's something really rather interesting. There's these 3 phone numbers over here. See the numbers. So what do you suppose would happen if I touched and held on those numbers? Well, I'm going to try. First I'm going to zoom this in a little bit so you can see better. Let's tap and hold on that top number, the 590 number. So I tap and I hold, and holy cow, it's ready for me to phone this guy. Wow. Is that amazing? Now, believe it or not, I only figured that out this morning. Okay, I'd never done that before, but I thought it would probably work, and so I tried it, and it did work. So astounding, right? So if you see something, you see you see an advertisement, a poster, a billboard or something, you can capture that text, because sometimes you take a picture of something thinking, I'm going to get back to that later. But now you don't have to do anything. You just touch it, hold it, and there you are. Okay? So that's the end of that. Okay, any questions about that? Isn't that cool? You don't have to type it all anymore.
That is cool. And we also have 4 comments in the chat about adding something to the address book. Okay. And so if you could read the chat, you'll see the responses. And the answer is probably yes, you can add it to your contacts.
If only I knew how. You want to tell everybody?
Let's start with Charles Anthony. You want to respond?
Yes, thanks. When you take that picture of the phone number, email address, or even street address, and you clicked on it, and you had that pop-up come up,
yes,
you would call the number.
Yes.
You'll notice that at the very bottom of it, it'll say add to contacts, and then you can either add it to existing or create a new contact.
Yeah, I could do that. I don't know if I could do it with the whole business card, though. Could I?
Yeah.
Okay.
It showed up when you were doing it just a minute ago.
Oh, okay. That's good. Well, I'm going to try that again. Let's just see. Let's get your camera. Let's just see if I can learn. Okay, so I'm going to do this. I need a little bit. There, I want all of it. So I want to come and get all that text. You can do it. That's what I want. That's almost what I want, but I'll touch it. And yeah, see, I'm not quite.
Click on the address.
There you go. And so I guess in this case, since this guy's already in my address book, it's not a great example. Let me try this. Well, I'm gonna take your word for it. All right, that's great. And by the way, someone asked, I see, will that trackpad spacebar thing work anywhere but mail? Sure, it'll work everywhere. Okay, everywhere you can type. Okay. So were there other questions too?
Hold on, let's see. Nope, you can go ahead.
Okay,
Sheila,
very
can
good.
can I ask a question?
Yes, for a second. Yes, there was a question. Is there a forward delete on iOS?
Not that I know of.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, George.
Christian, can you show us how will that show us what type of a dog that is? What breed?
Wow. Well, that's a good question. It's good at this stuff, but it can't do everything. So let's see. So here's the dog. There's an info button down at the bottom. That's a great question, George. If you look down at the very bottom here, when you're looking at a picture, there's this eye, and I'm going to tap it. We'll see what happens here. What do we know about this? Well, they don't know enough about the dog to tell me, but I'm gonna try doing something else. I'm gonna crop this picture and see if now it knows that it's a dog. Okay, so let's just let's edit this. I'll crop it down here at the bottom. Okay, I'll do this. Terrible cropping, but you get the idea. Okay, so now I've got a dog. So now let's see if they figure this out. Oh, there's
Yes.
a little plus down there now, little sparkle things. You see there? It's changed. So let's see what happens now. It's a dog. Okay, they agree it's a dog. Okay, but if I can tap that, I think it's going to find me more dogs. So if I do this. Let's see what else happens. Let's hit continue. Looky there. They do know it's a dachshund after all. Siri to the rescue. That's astounding. Okay, so there it is. There it is. Great question. Now, yeah, that's really good.
I didn't get that. Could
really
you try
cool.
again?
Oh, Siri, please. All right, you know who did it. So that's great. All right, great question. All right. On to the.
Can I throw something in? Can I throw something at you?
Of course.
Open your contacts.
Okay.
There are too many responses to this in the chat, so you have to do this.
Okay. Contacts.
Okay. Do an ad.
You got an ad.
And okay, is there a way to scan?
Well, I think if I touch and hold. Yes, I touch and hold. So the trick is to touch where you want to bring text in and hold it until you get this little pop-up, this black thing that says scan text. And so now let's tap where it says to do that, and hopefully it will insert the text. Now see, they put the whole thing there. That's not what I want, right? So I just want the first name there. So they're not doing it quite as well as I think they might.
Okay.
But here, let's try. I'll see if I can get the company in there. This might be a little simpler because it's over here. You know, priority riffing.
It's trying.
Not perfect. Okay, but it's
Okay.
All right. Well, it's a good try, and it's good anywhere that you can insert text. If you put your finger in that box and you hold it and then you let go, you should get a chance to edit text. So it's just to scan text. So here, like in the notes, if I go here to the notes and I touch it and I hold it and I wait and I let go, I see a little scan text button. This is technically I think they call this live text, but I'm going to just tap that there, and now I could pull stuff in. So I've got a brochure here. I'll just bring this text in here. Satisfaction guaranteed. Do it. Insert it. So there it is. Okay. So now Donald Duck has some text that I'm going to delete here. Okay. All right. Well, so that's that. Good stuff.
Thank you, Christian. Thank you, everyone. Great.
It's sort of it's a new feature. I think it's iOS 15 is when it came out. So, it's built in. So it's not something that you need to go and add. It's just something you just need to try to use. And so it's sort of like, sometimes you see QR codes that you can scan and they will do something for you. This is maybe a little bit more direct. You see an email address, you take a picture of it, you put your finger on it, and you're emailing them. Okay.
Right.
Whew. All right. Now, let's talk about some of the questions that we actually had. One question we got was about Safari tabs. So I think we all probably use Safari from time to time. So here's Safari, and we don't always use it the same way. Like here, be nice if this page loaded. Let's just try it again. Okay, so here's this page. Now I have set up my Safari so that it always goes to the reader view when I'm going to this particular website. I do that because it's a lot easier for me to read than when it's small. And so this is really not a point to talk about the various settings for Safari, but as you can see, when I tap down here at the bottom, find my cursor, here we go. If I tap down here, I get choices, and it's this part here where I'm setting up preferences for this website only. So every time I go to other websites, they can have their own settings. So I'm going to just tap that little gear and we're going to see the settings. So what I've been doing is this. I have use reader automatically, right? That's what's happening here. So let me put this page out of the way, sorry. Okay. There. So I'm using the reader automatically. So every time I come to macrumors.com, doesn't matter which page on macrumors.com, I'm getting the reader view. Okay, but for now I'm going to turn that off, and so that we can do this sort of in a more normal way. Now this also is, this is the way that Apple thinks that you might want to use it. They're not exactly right. This to have your address bar down here, because then you can swipe left and right on these to go to other pages. Okay, like this. So anyhow, that's what that's about. Now you don't have to do it that way. You can go to the settings. You can change it so that it says, so it puts the tab bar or the address bar up at the top. Fine. That's not what this is about. What this is about is the open tabs in Safari. So let's look at those. Let's look at how do we get there? Well, how we get there is we tap down at the bottom where you see this overlapping squares. So I'll do that now. Okay, this is showing you all of the tabs that I have open. These are web pages that have opened up in their own tab, and they're I've got 40 of them, and so you can see there's a lot of them. And the advantage, there's an advantage to this, is that I can go back to a page rather quickly if I wanted to, and I could just pop it open, and like let's say I wanted to go read this one here. I can go look at this. I can just tap this page at the bottom right here, and it shows me about this this gardens underground in Fresno that I went to last week. So, it's a quick way to jump around especially if you're going back and forth between a couple pages. But you can also search, of course, up here at the top. So if I search I'll look for the fair, because I went to the county fair. Here's the county fair page, and there it is. So it's handy to have a bunch of tabs, right? That's great. But the question came up, which was, is it bad for the phone to have so many open? Well, it depends on who you ask, but if you ask me, if you want the truth, the answer is no. It doesn't matter. People get the idea that they should close everything all the time and kill their apps all the time. It actually turns out to be a little bit detrimental to battery life if you do that, because when a page is just is showing in this list, it's like frozen. It's just waiting to be thawed out, which takes almost no battery. But if you close the tab, which I can do, I mean, there's a little X on each one of them up here, like this. So I can close the tab, but then to open it again, I have to reload that information. It has to come from the internet, through the antenna and into here. That actually uses up a bit of battery that you don't have to use. So you're better off not worrying about closing things all the time. And when it comes to Safari tabs, you're good to have as many as you want, as long as the amount that you want is under 500. When you hit 500, you're going to get a warning that says maybe you want to close some of these. It's really up to you. And the way you can do it, there's a couple tricks in here. This is not my favorite human interface design, but down here you would think that done means you're done. And in fact, when I touch done, that's what it does. If I touch those squares again, I come back. I'm going to show you what else happens. If I touch on done and I hold it, for some reason, I can close all 40 tabs. So if you're the one who has 500 tabs and you're thinking maybe I should close these, I think I'll just get a fresh start. That's strictly for you. You can do it like this. And let's see, the question is about the Mac. Safari on the Mac, yeah, stuff runs in the background. So on a Mac, a bad Safari page can cause your machine to go very, very slowly. I don't think you're going to see that here on the iPhone. Okay, so I'm not going to close all these things, but you see that the trick there was to touch done and hold it. Okay, so I touched down here and I held it, and you get something that's really not related at all, but that's the way they do it. So there's another one that's like that. I think if I hit the plus here, this is an interesting one. So what I'm going to do here is, supposing I decide I'm going to close that county fair one anyway. Okay, so I'm going to close this one up. And let's say I'm going to close, I'll close another one. Okay, let's see this. I'll close this other one about the county fair here too, right there. Let's close that. And I'm going to close this one about the Fresno underground gardens there. Okay, so I've closed these things. And now I wish I hadn't, okay? I wish I hadn't. Now on a Mac, you've got, under Safari, you've got recently closed items, and it's easy to find. Here, you've also got it, but it's not easy to find, but it's under here. It's under this plus. So you touch this plus and you hold it, and what do you know? Here are the recently closed things. Like here's my county fair one right here. Here's my underground gardens, which I just did. So of course they're in order. So I'll just do that, and it just takes me back to where I was as if I hadn't closed it. So that's a little surprise there, but that's how the tabs work. So now you know.
Thank you for that. Would have never have known that.
Well, there you go. See that is a real badge of honor when you get Sheeta. When Sheeta says, I wouldn't have known that. That means you really did something good. All right. Way to go, Sheeta. Thank you. Make my day.
No problem.
Okay. So I'm just going to look at my other questions here. There weren't a lot of questions, so we might have to take some right here, but let me just look at my mail. I had a short list.
Nancy, while you're looking, Nancy Pyle, can you unmute yourself? Nancy Pyle McGee, can you unmute yourself and ask your question? Nancy's question is, what about just adding them to your reading pane? Can you add them like to a reading pane or to a tab group or something?
You've got the tab group is down at that bottom where you've got, let's do this again. We go here, and if I tap at the bottom, where it says right now, it says 36 tabs. 38 tabs. If I touch that, I can make a tab group. I can put all 38 of them into this tab group. I can make an empty tab group. So yes, I think, is that sort of the answer? That it's right down there.
Okay, sort of the answer, yes.
Sort of, kind of, okay.
Mhm.
Let me find these other questions that people had for us. There weren't a lot. Okay, there's the sliding keyboard one. Here's the tabs one, and there you go.
Charles,
So I think those were our questions. I'm really sorry I don't have more, but so let's wing it. Give me some questions.
Charles Anthony, can you unmute yourself and ask a question?
Yes, thank you. I was just playing around with the tabs also, and there's clearing tabs, and then there's clearing history.
Yes.
If I don't touch the tabs and I just go to my history and I clear, you have options of clearing just now or yesterday or today or all history. Does
Yes.
that also clear out the tabs?
Oh wow! All right, let's want to find out. Let's find
It's
out.
rhetorical because it probably does, but just figuring.
Okay, so remember, let's go back here. We have, at the moment, we know I've got 38 tabs, and I've got I'm sure a lot of history. So in case people don't know how we're getting to the history, it's this little box down here, this little button that looks like a page. So let's tap that now and see. So the little clock part. So when you're in this section, this is the history. It's supposed to, clock is, I guess it's time related. So you also have a reading list here, and you have bookmarks here. Okay, so we're gonna focus though on the history. So the nice thing about the history is I can search that. I can type in here, even if it's a tab that's closed long ago, I can still search. So I'm gonna search. I'm gonna wild guess. Let's see. I'm gonna search for. I've been looking for parts for my truck, so I'm gonna search for Mazda, and let's see what I find here. I thought maybe I had some eBay in there, but I guess I don't. What I've got is lots and lots and lots of stuff. Oh, let's look for. I'm gonna look for NBA stuff. I've been keeping track of the NBA, so let's look at NBA. Okay, and sure enough, here's some articles, and some of this stuff is going to go way back, at least back to May 12th. And so if I wanted to read about this story, I could. So, but we're gonna flesh this stuff out. Okay, we're gonna go back down there, and we're gonna say I'm gonna go to clear, and I could say if I do all time, I'm going to do that, and we're going to see if those tabs are gone. So at great risk to my own personal use, I'm going to just do this. All right. Okay. See what I do for you? So I've cleared it, right? There's no history here. So now let's go look at the tabs, and the tabs are still there. Okay. So that's what you get there. Now there's other ways to clear stuff out. If Safari is the thing you're interested in clearing, if you go to settings, Safari has its own settings. And here they are, right there. Okay. And you can scroll down here a little bit, and this is where my tab bar is down there at the bottom like this, and that lets me go back and forth between different tabs with a swipe, right? That's what you get. If you like to have the address up at the top, you want to choose this option, okay? But so as we keep going here, you're going to see here, this is even bigger. If I do clear history and website data, so this is kind of serious here, because now I'm going to not only remove the history, but also the cookies that where the website remembers where I've been, what I've done, and it's going to mess me up on my other devices too. So I'm not going to do that. Okay, I don't want to get rid of the data. So anyway, if you need to, if you really want to flush things out, that's what you do. But that's not what I want to do because that's going to mess up the rest of my setup here. All right, what else? Come on, don't make me tap dance.
Jill Patton, can you please unmute yourself and ask your question?
Yeah, hello, Christian.
Hello.
Still in the UK here. I don't know how to, or whether I should use reading list or bookmarks. I don't know what the difference is. Oh, somebody else doesn't either.
Yeah, you're not the only one. I just make bookmarks and reading lists. See, the reading list you can read offline. So if you were to, let's say you wanted to, if you had an iPad, it might be more useful, but an iPad or an iPhone, you can add things to the reading list and it kind of downloads the page and you've got it. And so then if you're on an airplane flying somewhere, you don't have internet access, you can read the pages. So it's kind of halfway in between a bookmark and it's halfway to a bookmark, I guess. I prefer a bookmark. It's you can group the things in the bookmarks, you can make folders out of them, put things in folders and groups like that. So that's what I do.
Okay, thanks very much. Thank you.
Sure.
All right, thank you. Alan Weinstein, can you please unmute yourself and ask your question?
This is a question totally unrelated to anything he spoke about at all.
Okay.
Is it appropriate now or should I wait?
Alan, no.
Okay,
Go
well, I'll
ahead,
wait
go
till
ahead,
another time.
go ahead, Alan.
Okay, I have come into the possession of a 1990s vintage Macintosh, Power Macintosh 8100/100.
Oh, wow.
It has files written back in the 1990s. Do you know of any software that will open up those files? They are Word files, there are JPEG files that were made in the 1990s. Do you know of any software that will open up a 1990s vintage files?
Sure. First of all, a JPEG's a JPEG's a JPEG. So you'll be able to open up the JPEGs. You just get them onto your current machine and they'll open. So JPEGs are easy. Now, if they don't open up, maybe they don't have the extension on the end that goes .jpg or .jpeg. So you may find that a file that won't open, when you double click it, if it opens up in terminal, if it has a black icon, you just might need to tell it that this is a JPEG, and so you put .jpeg on the end. So those are easy. Where it gets a little harder are files like ClarisWorks files and AppleWorks files. So those were really popular back then, but they're not even made anymore. So the one app that will open AppleWorks and ClarisWorks documents is LibreOffice. Okay, like free, like LIBRE. You can download LibreOffice for free. It'll open the documents, and then you can copy them and save them in some other way. You'll want to. They don't convert them; it just opens them, and you can read them, and it works. I have a project like that for my mom. She's got a bunch of old documents, and I made the mistake of getting her a new Mac, and so now I suffer because I've got to convert those documents because the way she wrote them doesn't exist anymore. So she was using a really old Mac. Word documents, Microsoft Word should open up just about any Word document as long as it ends with .doc. If it's an old Word document, it's going to end with .doc, or it should. And if it doesn't, then put the .doc on the end and see what happens. Okay. So hopefully that helps you. If you're really stuck, you can email me and I'll try to help you some more.
All
Okay,
right.
thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Stephen Ramirez, can you please unmute yourself and ask your question?
Thank you. Over the last several years, I've identified numerous apps, primarily Apple apps, that I have inserted photos into: keynote presentations, notes, pages. And I do a lot of screenshots, but I don't want these screenshot photos to be in my photos album. I've come to realize, and my question is, how does it do it? I can delete the photos from the photos master album and also from recently deleted, but those photos are still in my apps. They're in my presentations. I like that. I like having those photos in the presentations, but no longer in my photos. How does the iPad recognize the photo even though it's no longer in my album?
Well, I'm guessing that it's a separate file that has been copied and pasted in there, and so it's not connected anymore back to the photo library. It's my guess.
And these photos don't leave; they're there. Now, if I delete them out of the app, so to speak, then they're gone.
Yeah, then they're gone.
And I have no recourse to get them
No, but
back.
you're doing the right thing. If you're in Photos and you let's say I'm here in Photos, and when I'm looking in this view here, you can see at the bottom here, I'm in the library. If I delete a picture from here, like let's say I delete this lost dog picture. So if I delete it from here, there's a couple things I can do. The way I like to do it is up here. There's this nice select button. So if I tap that select button, then I can say, well, this picture and this picture and this picture, I don't need these anymore. This one either. So then I can trash all of those. Okay, so that's easy. And they're really gone. Okay, I mean they're not strictly gone because there is an album down here, like you said, that's I've recently deleted. And if I look here, doesn't have to go too far, and I find if I can find it, recently deleted down here at the bottom, and if I went in there, I would find those pictures. I could haul them back out. But the reason I show you this is because a lot of times people will do it this way. They'll be in an album. So I'm gonna put a picture in an album. Okay, I'm gonna take this Donald Duck picture, all right, and I'm going to do something with it. I'm gonna say I'm going to add it to an album. So I hit the little share button at the bottom left. I'm gonna add it to an album, and I'm gonna put it into my. It doesn't really matter. I'm gonna put it in this Cap Mac album. Big mistake. Okay, so then you notice it's still here, right? It's still here. So I have to talk about this one all the time because people get mixed up about this. So the picture's still here. It didn't move to the album, they think. So let's look at the albums down here at the bottom. Okay, so here I'm in the albums, and I'm gonna go find that album of mine, that Cap Mac album. Okay, so let's see here. Here it is. And I see there's Donald Duck. Okay, so now what people think is, you know what, I don't need this Donald Duck picture anymore. I'm gonna delete this picture. So they do. So they tap on it, they get it open here, they hit the trash can here, and now you gotta pay attention here. Do we want to I'm trying to get it out of this album? That's what I'm trying to do. Or am I trying to delete it all together? That's option 2 here. So you have to know what you're doing here. So I'm gonna cancel this and back out and look at it another way. If I go back here to photos, and go to the library, if I were to delete this guy, I could just touch this again. It opens up again. I hit delete again. And if I delete it, if people think they're deleting it just from here, you're gonna be disappointed. So I'm gonna tap delete photo here. Okay, goodbye. And let's go back and look at that Cap Mac album. Here it is. And sure enough, it's gone, right? It is gone. So the library is everything. The albums are sort of like playlists in iTunes, that a picture can be in multiple playlists at the same time.
But if you had that photo of that duck in a keynote presentation,
Yes,
it would still be there.
it would still be there. That's correct. It's not linked back to this. That's right. Yeah, it's its own entity at that point. It's been copied, duplicated.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Stephen. Michael Slider, you had a response to bookmarks versus reading lists.
Yes, I use both, and I have reasons for using them. When you use a bookmark, typically what you're doing is you're putting it in a particular folder so that you can group them. And then if you're looking, let's say, for doctors, you have a folder with doctors or a folder for photographs.
Yes.
I don't want to do that. And when I use the other tool for, the icon that has the eyeglasses for it. So instead of using bookmarks, you can automatically select them to read, and then you can actually search them. And so if you go up to the search bar, if you want to search different things, they'll all pop up and you can get to them very easily. And so that way, if you're trying to, you had a subject that you were in, and you were saving them for viewing that way as a reading list, you can have all of them together and then start going through them, and then you delete the ones you don't want by sliding them to the right. And it makes it a lot more convenient.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely has its place. It's more of like a sort of a bookmarks are more permanent.
Right.
And the reading list, you might use a reading list for, like you say, research, where you're maybe going to write an article and you need to draw upon some other websites. That's a great use of it. Thanks for straightening that out. That's a good point.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Jean Roy, can you please unmute yourself and ask a question?
Sure. I've been grouping a lot of photos I have, something in the shed outside in the house or whatever events. And the original, and when I look at all photos, I can look at the data. I could put a name in there. I can see where it was taken, the date, and all that. And recently, I decided to post some things on Nextdoor, and I went to the album, and I looked at it. And the title, I couldn't get any of the data you normally get, the metadata with the little I on photos that were in an album. Whereas if they're just not, I look at the original that's not in the album, I didn't have anything. So that was confusing to me. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, or if that's how it's supposed to work. That's within photos.
Yeah, it doesn't sound quite right to me. So here I am in I'm in photos, and I'm looking at some pictures here that are, I'm in an album. Okay, so here's all my pictures. Let's look at this picture down here. Okay, here's a pair of shoes. Okay, kind of beat up. And if I use the I down at the bottom, we see a bit of info, right? When I took it, how I took it. I took it with an iPhone right here. I used the regular camera. I took it in Santa Monica, and it knows that much. Okay, so and I could have a caption here too. I can type up there. I can say old shoes. Okay, so I'm done with that, and now I can go back to so here they are. So I'm gonna put those shoes in an album. Okay, let's do that, and let's see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm gonna use the share button down here at the bottom. It's really easier to organize photos on the Mac, I think, because you can grab them and drag them around, but we'll do it like this. This is what we're doing. So I hit that button, and I'm going to put them in an album. So I've got a add to album button right here. Some of these other things you see, like link to Jeff. This is something I wrote because I'm always sending links to my friend Jeff to read this or read that. So that's what that's about. But add to album is something that we all have. So let's just do that. Add to album, and I'll pick an album. Let's say I'll put it in my Santa Monica patio album, which is of course not where it really belongs, but I'm gonna put it there. Okay, there it goes. So now if I look at that album, okay, so I've got the shoe and I get the eye, and it knows all about it. That's good. Now I'm gonna do, let's look at that Santa Monica photo album. Let's see what happens here. So here's the album in question. It's my balcony. And now that I'm here, let's look at these pictures. So the picture in question is this one at the end. So we'll tap on that, and I'll tap the eye, and I still know everything about it, right? So it didn't lose that. Now there's an option. Of course, when you share a picture, if you post it on Facebook, you probably want some of this stuff stripped off, and so there are controls over that. So I'm going to see if I can find those on the fly. You guys got great questions. Here's photos. So I'm going to the Photos app here. So I've gone to the settings. I'm going to Photos. Let's see what we find. Okay. So I don't see anything about that.
Okay.
So I'm in the wrong place. Privacy. George,
Actually,
something you to say?
the original problem I had was actually on my brand new MacBook Air and with the latest OS, and I've decided to reproduce that by, looking in a folder, an album, clicking on a photo.
Okay.
And well, I hit the eye and nothing happens on some of these photos. So let me take a look here. Let me try another one. There's a little eye in the folder. There's not. Okay, that's weird. So maybe that's a different discussion. Since on the iPhone, I just created an item like you did, and I do have I can get the information on it.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Okay. All right,
Yeah.
great. Okay, Charles Anthony, can you unmute yourself and ask your question?
Hi. Yeah, I was asking a question. I have in the photos, we have that album that recognizes faces,
Yes.
and I wanted to be able to locate a photo I've taken of somebody who's not already in there. I want to add them. And I just saw a note in here. Who's that? Mike?
From Mike Kwasniak, yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was just going to try that out now. If I open the image with the photo with that face, hit the small eye button in the upper right, and one of the options is plus face. Okay, I'll try that out. And then I guess reversing that, if I have a photo of somebody who's not recognized by the facial recognition, but I want to add that face, let's say it's an older picture of somebody and it doesn't recognize that, I want to add that to that particular person. Let's say it's one of my kids and it's a younger picture of them and I want to add to that. I guess would I be able to do the same thing? I have to try that.
Yeah, what you do is you start typing if it recognizes it as a face, when you start typing in the name, they're going to recognize the name because you've typed it before, right? Because they're in your contact.
Right.
And so then you say, yeah, that's him. That should do it. You also can add, you can tell the iPhone to go and look for to add faces. I mean, if you go like here, let's find some faces here. I'm gonna look at in the albums. Let me go back here to albums and let's see. Here's our people. And let's say, here's my mom. Let's see if we have some more pictures to add of mom. Okay, so up here at the top, I'm going to see, I can review, here where it says review confirmed photos, I can make sure that these are really mom. Now, I saw something in the chat. I don't know if it was from you or from someone else that said the Photos app thinks that I and my son and my father, my niece, we're all the same person. And so you could come in here like this, and I could say, like, these really are all my mom so far, but maybe there's going to be one. Well, those are all my mom, so that's legit. But if there was one that was maybe, let's say she had a sister, I could say no, that's not her. Okay, so that would be useful. So for that question about family resemblances, where they all think you're the same person, that's how you would solve that. And let me see here if I've got one more thing here. Let's say I can show more. I guess I don't have any additional ones for mom to for me to add. Plenty of them, but she's my mom, right? Okay.
Of course.
All right. So I don't know if I answered that question, but let me see. Here's my girlfriend. These pictures should all be rated G. Let's just see what we have here. I don't see. Yeah, if I go like this, these are all her, which is good, the way it ought to be. Should be happy about that.
So what if you press the review more button? What would it give you? Review confirmed photos.
Yes.
And then at the bottom, review more photos.
Oh, that's exactly what we want to do. So we don't have any more photos of her. That we might have some of mom. Let's see, because I just took mom on a little vacation. Let's go to mom again. Let's do review up at the top. I tap at the top. I go to review. Here we go. This is what I'm going to do. Thank you, Sheeta. I lost that.
Mm-hmm.
There. Okay, so let's see here. Is that my mom? Yes, it is. I'm going to say yes. That's not my mom. That's my friend Rita. That's mom. Okay. That's my sis. No, that's my mom a long time ago. Okay. Okay. Now this is a friend of ours. Okay, and there you are. So now here's the fun part. I just did, what did I add? 3 pictures as far as I'm concerned, but the Photos app went out and found a whole bunch of other pictures that are really close to the ones that I added. And so they added up 31 photos. Okay, so that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So you do a little work and they get it straightened out. Okay, good. Thanks, Sheeta.
You're welcome.
The things move around where there used to be a plus where you would do that, but now it's review more photos, and you can't get there until you do the confirmed part first. So
mm-hmm. Yeah, they hide things now.
It's a hard life. Okay.
It surely is. All right. Do we have any more questions for Christian? We have time for one more question.
Come on.
I asked once before, but I do have another one if you have time.
No.
Okay,
no.
I understand. No,
go ahead, Alan. Go ahead.
Christian, I'm always confused whether albums go into folders or do folders go into albums. I'm always confused the relationship between folders and albums in photos.
Okay, well, that one's easy. The album is the smaller part, and you can group albums with a folder. Okay, you can put a folder around them. So maybe you have an album that's Christmas pictures, another album that's Thanksgiving pictures, another one that's birthday pictures. You can put them all in a folder called holidays.
Okay, so if I have an event let's say I went to an event and there was food at the event and there were family people at the event and there were other things, I would make a folder named that event and then put albums of the food and the people in separate albums.
You could, sure, that would work fine.
Thank you.
Other ways to do it, but that's one way that would work. Sure.
Thank you.
I mean, look, they're so good at searching for stuff that it's almost, sometimes it's not worth the trouble of organizing. I mean, if I go here, I hit the search button at the bottom right down here, I can find all the pictures that I took in San Antonio, okay? And so you see I got 864 pictures. They're scattered all over the place in different albums, right? So this is kind of like a cross album search. And so now here's 864 pictures in San Antonio, right? So, there you go. So that's a really great thing, is to be able to do the search. So, places, people, more dog pictures. Here's I had 178 dog pictures, and here they are. Okay, woof, woof, woof. So, okay, that dog looks like a bear, but it's still pretty close. Can't beat that one. Okay,